Nick Ferrari at breakfast on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
9 minutes before 8 is the time. So I've mentioned a couple of times there's going to be a change as regards some of the GCSEs. A new natural history GCSE coming up in a couple of years' time. And who better to explain than Education Secretary Nadhim Zahawi, who joins me now. OK, Secretary of State, when's it coming in and what will it contain? Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. It is coming in 2025, and what we're trying to do is inspire young minds, maybe discover the next David Attenborough. A great day to launch this when he's just been recognised by the UN for his work. Maybe inspire and find the next technology entrepreneur who will help preserve and save the planet. It is part of our sustainability and climate change strategy, which includes the Education National Nature Park, where we're linking all the education estate. If you think the education estate in England is about the size of two cities, the size of Birmingham, we're going to link them up. People can do geospatial mapping. Students can do that, learn what other students are doing in their outdoor spaces, and of course the GCSE in natural history will, I hope, give young people that agency rather than being angry and anxious and going out and disrupting people's lives in illegal demonstrations. They will put that energy, that enthusiasm to make sure that they preserve our great planet into their education. And right. By doing a GCSE in natural history, hopefully an A-level in subjects that allow them to then go on and I hope become, as I say, the next David Attenborough.
All right.
I've got the great Bear Grylls with me launching it today, which is a fantastic thing as well.
Well, that's great. So obviously we'll get photographs and it's all great publicity. But if it's that important, why is it taking 3.5 years?
Well, because the work that we need to do to make sure we get the actual content right, working with Cambridge, working with Ofqual, the regulator.
Sorry, 3.5 years?
Well, no.
For the love of God, Mr. Zahawi, why would it take that long?
Because
if it's so crucial, or can I put it to you, it's nice to have your picture taken with Bear Grylls. It's all in keeping with climate change and everything. In reality, if you cared this much, it would be on the syllabus this September, wouldn't it?
Well, we've got so students can
what
already
takes 3.5 years?
And
walk me through it. You're a man of action. Walk me through what will take 3.5 years.
No, so that it won't take 3.5 to do the content.
It comes in 2025.
25, correct. So by the time we're in 2022 today,
I've worked that out. Thank you.
And so by the time we actually get the content right and then roll it out, so I can actually make sure it is being delivered in our schools, we'll try and do it as quickly as we can. But working with Cambridge and Ofqual and others, that is the timeline. By the way, we're not holding back. We've got the ability for children to learn about the planet in STEM subjects, in geography, in citizenship. So we're not holding back on any of this. And of course, we've got the environmental science A-level as well. The other thing we're doing is making sure that our schools, the new schools, we're building 50 new schools a year, so 500 over the next 10 years. They are built with modern practices of building schools, and they are net zero in operation.
What's the biggest challenge in the sphere of education at the moment, Mr. Zahawi? Could I put it to you that possibly it's playing catch-up after COVID?
No, I disagree.
Thousands of children, obviously through no fault of their own, and teachers put in a heck of a shift working online. But we do know that a lot of children, there is a passage or chunk of their education that we need to catch up with. Would you accept that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So why are we dancing around? Why are we dancing around with Bear Grylls launching something about the plains of Africa? What the hell's that about?
When we're not holding back on that. I'm putting $5 billion into recovery. The National Tutoring Programme has delivered 1.2 million blocks of tuition. These are 15 hours to those students, especially focused on disadvantaged students. We're going to do 2 million by the end of this academic year, 6 million by the end of this Parliament.
Right.
So we're not holding back in education. I've focused the department on skills schools and families. I'm launching family hubs in half of England's local authorities. So we're doing a lot of work. The skills bill is with Her Majesty the Queen at the moment to receive royal assent, and I hope you and I can wish her a very happy birthday.
Indeed, we are absolutely on the same page there.
So we're not holding back, Nick, at all in the Department of Education. We're making sure that we're delivering on this.
To those who would say that for children of this, for pupils of this age, it would perhaps be of equal importance that they were to learn how mortgages work, or how car loans or other loans work, or whatever it might be, financial acumen or competence. How would you... That, to me, might be equally, if not more important, than the plains of Africa. Secretary of State.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the last new GCSE that we introduced was in 2017, and it was economics GCSE, which I hope you will applaud and approve of, as well as the GCSE in natural history, which we are working on to make sure we get right and deliver on that. And I will look further, by the way, at how we can introduce more sort of financial literacy into the system. My school's white paper focuses very much on making sure that young people leaving primary school have the ability to do maths and English to a high standard. At the moment, only 2/3 of them do that. I want to make that 90%, and setting really ambitious targets with a parent pledge. So parents should be entitled to, your listeners should be entitled to know through their teacher where the gaps are in their child's recovery in maths and English, and how that school is using tutoring and other support to make sure that the child is catching up.
You feature in the Times newspaper today. You have strong comments about the NUS, the National Union of Students. Can I ask you about a recording from their conference in Liverpool last month, which is gained by my colleague, political editor at LBC, Theo Usherwood? Students attending a workshop of the conference were told not to report anyone to the government's anti-extremism programme Prevent. This is part of the recording, Mr. Zahawi.
We need to go to every school, every institution, every university, tell them, disengage. Do not report your children to Prevent. Every hospital, that message needs to get to them all. Like, so currently at Process we do the Islamophobia training, and in it we teach SU disengage, pass motions in your SUs to disengage.
Disengage, do not report your children. Sir Mark Rowley, who of course you'll be aware ran counter-terrorism, describes this as highly dangerous. What are you going to do about it, Mr. Zahawi?
It is very serious, and as Mark Rowley said, it is highly dangerous to undermine the good work of the Prevent programme in this way. I worry deeply that the direction of the NUS and whether it be electing a second leader who then gets found to have either made statements or written stuff that's anti-Semitic.
This is the new President Shaima Dalali, who was forced to apologise for a tweet posted when she was a teenager, which said, "Khaybar Khaybar, O Jews, Muhammad's army will return Gaza," a reference to the massacre of Jewish people in the 7th century. Back to you, Mr. Zahawi.
It is truly abhorrent, and I think the NUS needs to do a lot of work to rebuild the trust with the Jewish students. And of course, I worry that there's a pattern here, and this could be systemic in the NUS. And I've asked my minister, Michelle Donlan, to look at our relationship with the NUS, look at their charitable status, and nothing is off the table. All options are on the table on this. I am deeply, deeply concerned.
Lastly, very briefly on the matter of concerning the inquiry into what the Prime Minister might or might not have said to the House of Commons, the Labour Party and other opposition are keen to have a vote now. My understanding is the Conservative Party wants to suggest that it waits until the police investigation by the Met is concluded, and indeed the Sue Gray report. Who's right and why?
Well, I tell you what we've done, Nick, is we've tabled an amendment because I think due process is important. And what I mean by that is the amendment clearly states that we need to see the final report from the Cabinet Office, the Sue Gray report. We need for the police to complete their inquiry, and then Parliament can decide if they refer this to the Privileges Committee. My worry for the Labour Party is they're playing petty politics when we've got a global battle against inflation, when we've got to make sure that the 6 million backlog in the NHS is dealt with, when we're dealing with Putin in the Ukraine. Instead, Keir Starmer was so anxious to try and play politics with this that he possibly misled Parliament inadvertently, I should hope, by accusing the Prime Minister of attacking BBC journalists for their reporting from the Ukraine. And David Evnett has written to the Speaker to ask him to look at this very seriously, and hopefully Keir Starmer will come to Parliament and apologise for misleading Parliament on this. I think playing petty politics with this is wrong. Due process is right. I'll be voting for the amendment because I think that's the right thing to do.
Grateful for your time today. Education Secretary Nadhim Zahawi appearing here on LBC, where 1 minute after 8 news is next.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom, the government is attempting to delay a new inquiry into Partygate. MPs are due to vote later on asking a Commons committee to determine whether Boris Johnson misled MPs over the scandal.